What's up, ballers? Jacob here with All Drive No Drop, talking about the Gearbox Pro Ultimate, the newest paddle from Gearbox, coming in at $274.99. That's a high price. That is topping the range in prices. So we're going to break it down and see if it is going to be worth it for you to buy this. This is a very premium paddle. Gearbox does make great stuff, but we are talking about a very high price. And I want to make sure if you're going to buy this, that is the right fit for you, because that's a lot of money to be spending on a paddle. Now, if you want to help support the channel, you can buy using my affiliate link. There's no discounts for Gearbox, so I won't feel bad if you don't use it. But if you want to help support the channel and you are going to buy it, appreciate it if you buy it using my link. Anyway, let's get into some of these new tech upgrades. What's the difference between this and this old one, the Gearbox Pro Power, which, you know, changed the game quite a bit with how much power it had? Is this an upgrade? Is it just a different style? We're going to find out. We're going to dig into these changes real quick right now. Okay, so this is a slide, little background information that Gearbox provided me. This is supposedly what is new. So you have the new improved dwell time. I believe that is true, but that's just kind of generally true with 16 millimeters in general. But this one, it does feel like they have enhanced dwell time. Now, the enhanced twist weight. So the stats show that, yes, the twist weight increased, but it didn't increase that much. Now, the sweet spot is bigger. With the way they have this weighted out, it has led to a bigger sweet spot. The twist weight doesn't show that, but I do believe the sweet spot is drastically improved, especially towards the top of the paddle and the sides of the paddle. So twist weight's not going to show the whole picture all the time, and in this case, I think that the stability and sweet spot have been drastically improved. Everything good there. And then the sound is also quieter. That is one thing I wanted to mention too. It has the same sound as the Gearbox Pro Power, but that sound noise, that level of noise is just reduced. So let's jump into the specs real quick, and then we'll talk about how this performs on the court and talk about how it compares to the old one a little bit more. Okay, so the Gearbox Pro Ultimate is their SST core. If you want to read more about that, you can go on their website and then go into how they layer those carbon fiber ribs. It's an elongated paddle. It is carbon fiber on the face, 16.5 inches in length, 7.375 inches in width, 16 millimeter core. They say the range is from 8.1 to 8.2. Mine came in at 8.2. Handle length of 5.5 inches, grip circumference of 4.0. I know it seems like a lot of people are trending towards making those thinner, so you can customize it, so that's great. Swing weight of 125, and then a twist weight of 5.55. Swing weight's going to be a little higher. If you're using the Gearbox Pro Power, I think most people were probably weighting that up. Mine ended up being 128 with I had 3 grams at 4 and 8 o'clock, but then I also had some electrical tape around the whole thing, and that got my swing weight up to 128, and I was fine playing with it. You know, maybe, of course, you're giving up a little bit of hand speed, but I was okay with it. So 125 is going to be on the higher end, and basically, if you have played with those, I think most people will already know, like, if that's going to be too high for you or not. But that is definitely going to be something to consider when you are looking at this paddle, is that the swing weight is on the higher end. And then the twist weight being 5.55, it's not a great twist weight on paper, but the paddle plays a lot better than that. I really didn't have too much issue with it twisting in my hand. And as I'll talk about in the gameplay, especially on those lower resets in transition, I was actually having a great time resetting it there, just because of the pop the paddle provides, and I wasn't having trouble you know, on those extensions. It wasn't twisting in my hand, and I didn't feel like it wasn't stable. And they have a 1-year warranty. Let's jump into my gameplay thoughts. All right, so let's talk about how the Gearbox Pro Ultimate performs on the court. So at first, I think I hit my first 3 flicks out, and my friends told me, Jacob, can you just stop playing with that, because you're not playing good? I'm like, guys, I'm only playing like 5 minutes, calm down. So yes, I lost my first game, but in the second game, I really tuned this thing up. And you know, after my first game warm up, I got used to this paddle. So it has almost as much pop as the Pro Power, so it has great pop. So people that are missing that pop from their Gen 3s or their Gen 3 Yolas, or they're looking for more pop from other paddles, this has great pop. Love it. and it just takes some time to get used to. And the sweet spot size on this, way better. The resets and blocks, for how low of a twist weight it has, you know, I didn't even measure the twist weight before I went out there, and I was shocked when I saw the twist weight, because I'm like, I didn't feel this twisting in my hands. Like, I think you play this stock no problem. I plan on playing it stock. Like, if I play singles, I might use this paddle, because it's just so consistent. When you hit your drives with the great spin it gets, the great power you have access to, it feels really good. Gearbox told me that there was a lesser break-in period on these paddles. I think for the Pro Powers, people were saying like 10 to 15 hours. Kind of seeing like 5 to 8 hours on this. And I would say that rang true for me. I felt like after 5 hours on my paddle, it seemed like the power wasn't increasing anymore. So I would say 5 to 8 hours. It really just depends how hard you hit. It's going to be different for everyone, but not as long as a break-in period as the Pro Power. So drive serves, excellent with this paddle. Drops, no problem. I was, even with it being a poppier paddle, with the increased dwell time you get on this paddle and the great spin, my drops were working very well. I think the hardest thing is resets and blocks are going to take a little bit of time to get used to, especially backhand flicks with the increased pop. If you're coming from something not as poppy, then that will take a little bit of time to get used to, but that is part of the advantage of this paddle is that pop and power combo. It's a very good offensive paddle, just a little bit toned down from the Pro Power with the increased sweet spot and better feel. It's a little quieter as well. It still has that same Pro Power, you know, hollow sound, but it's a lot quieter, and the off-center shots feel a lot better. You don't get as much vibration as you do in the Pro Power. Now, you know, the soft game takes a little bit of time, like I said, but dinking rolls still felt really good. I think the forehand rolls were actually the hardest thing for me to adjust to with the pop. But once you got going, you just have to shorten everything up a little bit and let the paddle do the work for you. One area I was kind of, you know, I shouldn't have been shocked by, but like when I was doing one-handed backhand resets from like the transition area, and even had one that I was digging out from the baseline, and I just put the paddle out there from the baseline, and the ball just dropped perfectly over. It didn't even put any power into it. And I was like, wow. A lot of advantages to having a paddle that does that much work for you, especially when you can't put any force into it yourself. You just have to know how to control it as you get closer to the net. But having a paddle that has that much pop in it is very helpful when you're fully extended and you can't put any force into it yourself. Overall, I was extremely happy with this paddle. The biggest downside is going to be that swing weight. It will feel slightly slow in firefights if you're not used to it. You will get adjusted to it, but just know that that 125 swing weight is not going to be for everyone. But if you have experienced with a higher swing weight, then you should be okay. Once I got adjusted to it, I really did enjoy using this paddle overall. I think that, you know, whether you're a singles or doubles player, if you're looking for that power paddle, this is a great choice, as there's just not too many paddles that can compete with it. And unfortunately, that does mean it's going to be at the higher price, but we'll talk about that in the conclusion. And let's go there now. So who's this paddle for? The Gearbox Pro Ultimate. I think that this paddle is for people that either were using maybe the Gen 3 Yola Perseus and they really missed that pop and power combo, or someone that tried the Gearbox Pro Power and they just need a bigger sweet spot and they wanted a little bit more stability and they maybe didn't like how jarring it could feel in off-center shots. Now, if you're looking for a power paddle in the elongated shape, yes, there are other options. Of course, you have this Pro Power, and you have basically the Paddletech Bantam TKO Cs and TKO CXs. This is going to have a bigger sweet spot than the Paddletechs. That's one of the huge upgrades it has. The spin is going to be very similar to the Paddletechs. This spin is better than the Pro Power, in my opinion, with that extra dwell time, and you get a little bit softer feel, especially the sweet spot. It feels very soft. You know, you get towards these edges, you start feeling the stiffness, but this sweet spot is very soft. Feels very good. We have a high swing weight, 125. You're going to have to try something similar if you're on the fence of whether you can handle that swing weight or not. I think people would be surprised or how high their swing weight gets when you start adding like electrical tape or edge guard tape, it really does increase the swing weight quite a bit. A lot of those tapes are heavier than you would think they would be, especially when you're putting it around the whole paddle. Of course, if you wanted to do it on this, there are options out there that are whatever. Now, $275, we're getting to a steep price point, and I want to make sure that the paddle is extremely solid before I recommend it. This has great power and pop. It's not at the levels of this. I was doing my testing on the radar testing, and I don't want to put out numbers for these because when I was testing, I get higher end numbers on the Pro Power, of course. And that's what Gearbox put out there before I tested these out. But I was getting more consistent power with the Pro Ultimate. So I'm hitting really good serves, really good drives. You know, the drives I don't have numbers for, but so I'm getting excellent power numbers on this. Getting great pop too, and just the real feel and the gameplay. This is very poppy still. It's not going to be as poppy as the Pro Power, and it's not going to have as much power, but this consistency of the sweet spot. Overall, if I were to play with one of these paddles, I would take the Ultimate. I think this is a better version of the Pro Power for a majority of people, and I think this is going to be the easiest power paddle to use right now over the Paddle-Tex and over the Pro Power because of the sweet spot size and how much more consistent it is. Because with those Paddle-Tex and with the Pro Power, you do need to be more accurate with the sweet spot. And now that's in it. So I really do think that this has a place for people looking for a power paddle. It just depends if you can handle that swing weight and if you're okay with the price. So that's my complete thoughts on this. I like what Gearbox is doing. They have a unique core. They have a very unique brand in paddles. And I hope that they take this technology and put it into like a 16 millimeter wide body or hybrid shape. That would be great as well. But if you're looking for that power paddle elongated and you're looking for a premium paddle, they do have that 1-year warranty as well, then the Pro Ultimate is going to be a great choice for those that are looking for it. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate the support. I hope you enjoyed the review. If you did, you know, drop a like and a comment. I'd love to hear your thoughts. And of course, subscribe because you don't want to miss out. We have a busy few months coming up here. I thought paddle season was over, but it's not. As always, go play some pickleball.